today I'm going to show you how to make Eagle Pops. These are used in our catering events. They're pretty popular, except they're kind of expensive because they're all chocolate. There are a couple different ways. You learned how to melt chocolate in Pastry Chef using double boilers. So we have melted all of our chocolate using double boilers. And in Pastry Chef, you obviously knew how to fill the bottles for all the decorating that you did. Now, the chocolate molds look something like this. These are eagle heads. This line is for your stick, the lollipop stick. The way you clean these is with a paper towel, all right, and you just get the chocolate off. These cannot go through the sanitizer or they melt, and when they melt, they're all lopsided and they're ruined, all right? So if there's any water in these, the chocolate will not stick to the mold and your Eagle Pops don't work. Now, these are one of the easiest things you'll make, but they're also very tedious. They're not real quick. You have to get all the chocolate in the mold, then let them set, and then you pop them out, wrap them, and tie your ribbons. There's nothing hard about it. It just simply is tedious. It takes a lot of time. Okay? So, on these Eagle molds, the first thing I usually do is you can put your sticks in at first, or you can put your sticks in, before you put in the actual filled chocolate. It doesn't really matter. All right? Now, you can do these different colors. We typically do a yellow beak, a blue eye, and then the fur can be white or brown. Again, if it was a different event, but since this is lighted, we try to stick with blue and gold. And of course, that color scheme makes sense. Now, for the eye, there's little indentations here. So you simply have to, it's like coloring in the lines. Now, with the eye, it is a tiny, tiny little dot. All right? If you go crazy, then your eagle looks a little bit possessed. All right, so I'm going to flip this around, actually, because it's easier to do it from this angle for me because I'm right-handed. Okay, so there's your eyes. The beak is a little bit... Okay. The way I find these is I start in the full beak and I just make a line to and from, and now again I fill in the lines. And there's lines here to follow. You don't want to squeeze super hard because then you end up going outside the lines. Okay. And I'm going to flip these around to do the other two. Again, I'm going to start in the beak and do a line to and from, and then start filling. Okay. And now the white. Now it's easier with the white if the squirt bottle has a wider opening, because this takes a little longer, and you want your sticks in before you start filling with the white. Alright, so I'm going to flip this over and start tapping. Okay, and that one's done. Alright, so I kind of made a mess here. That stick did not, there we go. So I'm just going to take this out and wipe it off and get it back in there. And make sure the stick is down this time. Okay, so now they're done for this part. What we're going to do is I typically have my students put them in the refrigerator. That lets them set up. Now we have more molds, but again, that's how much it took for just these 3 suckers. We're going to let them set, and then we will be back to show you how to pop them out of the molds. Okay, our chocolate has set. Now again, we will always put these in the refrigerator, otherwise it would take, 2 hours for these to set up, and it would take us a year to make 50 of these. So we'll fill all the molds. The way you pop them out is you just kind of lift, just lightly bend it, pull out the stick, and then there's your Eagle sucker. All right, and these are pure chocolate. And we will slide them into our bags that you guys are all very familiar with. Now these bags are kind of long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it. Now, if you have a whole bunch of these you need to cut, you can use a paper cutter, which will make it go much faster than, individually cutting each bag. All right? And we typically wrap these up with blue and gold ribbon because those are our light in colors. Now you want to tie them fairly tight so that the chocolate does not get stale. So that's loose. And this yellow ribbon's there we go. Even that up. You want to tie these fairly tight so that the chocolate stays fresh in a double knot. And then you just take scissors and you curl the ribbons kind of like you do at the holidays when you're wrapping presents or birthdays. And I know all of you are very familiar with this because you've had cuisine and pastry. And there we go.